Hello.
Hi there.
Good to see you, Brenda Sauder. I want to introduce Brenda. Brenda, fortunate for me and for our church at Ottervine United Methodist, she is our administrative assistant. And you've been there, what, 3 years now?
3 years since June, yes.
Wow. And she is a wife of someone who has a seminary degree and even was in my fair state of Texas. And she is a spiritual director. But for our talk today, she is a mother of 4. And during this pandemic time, I know that there's a lot of parents out there who are scrambling to teach their children. Many are online. They are figuring out how to have so much time homebound as they work and juggle being a parent, a teacher, a mother. So I wonder if you, or father, I wonder if you could help us in some ways that your children live their faith.
Well, one of the things that we have been doing as a family for probably 6 or 7 years is gathering the children together most evenings, and we call it worship. It's just sort of a time when the family gets together. We sit together either here at my table in the kitchen, or maybe we go into the living room and sit close to the fireplace. And we encourage the children to do a spiritual practice called the examen. And I was introduced to this spiritual discipline 6 or 7 years ago through a little book that Jonette has, Sleeping with Bread. And it's written, that book is specifically written for children, teaching children and us as adults to notice throughout the day what things we are the most grateful for and the things that are the hardest for us to accept or to enjoy. And so how we use this with our children is to ask everybody to get to think back through their day and describe one thing that is their high and one thing that is their low. So we started this so long ago that our youngest, who is now 9, she'll soon be 10, she didn't even know how to talk yet. And so she just knew that every evening each child says something about their day. And she just used made up words. She would say, my high is flubber and my low is flubber. And she would sometimes even get the high and the low switched around. She would eventually, as she learned to talk more, she would say, my high for the day is that I got a Band-Aid on my knee, and my low for the day is that we had pizza for supper. And she didn't realize that she was switching around what we meant by high and low, but it was so okay. As a family, we were able to just encourage the children to notice what it is that happens in their day, and then be able to name, feel about it. And one thing that I love about it is that it gives everyone, even me, the opportunity to reflect and key in to my feelings for the day. And you can choose how vulnerable you're going to be. Sometimes the children will say, I know what my low is, but I don't want to say it. And that's okay too. So using highs and lows with the children has been one spiritual discipline that we have used to help them to even know what it is that they're thinking or feeling.
I love that. I love that idea because it makes prayer so practical. It teaches gratitude, and it also teaches that the bad parts are also part of our spiritual journey and part of who we are. And it helps the way you've made a safe space. They don't even have to be vulnerable if they're not ready, but in their mind they can think about where God is in the midst of both the good and the bad. What a wonderful, easy, simple way to include the children, as you said, in a discipline, just like we are disciplined with sports. It's a discipline in our spiritual journey. Can you think of any other examples that of something that they may have said, or you may have said that was sort of a blessing for you in that high and low?
Well, as we each say our highs and lows, it draws us together as a family because it allows us to see into each other's lives and gives everybody the opportunity to say something. Everybody's voice is heard. Everybody, I mean, sometimes we will have to say, now it's so-and-so's turn, don't interrupt. Or while we are waiting for someone to speak, there can be sometimes a long silence. And that even teaches patience with people that are not quick to be verbal, but they'll have something to say, and it will be something valuable to say if you wait.
Yes. So when parents or children are stressed, I know it's not just the parents who are feeling the stress of the pandemic. Is there any other kind of thing you could think of to help children with stressful times?
My good friend Lauren Sophia, who was a grief counselor with hospice for quite a number of years, has created a deck of cards, and she calls it Sophia Says mindfulness cards. And they are available on Etsy under Sophia Says. Each card has a little picture of a child doing a spiritual practice, and then on the back it explains what the practice is and different examples and ideas of what you could do with your children. So for example, one of them might say pause. So on the front there's a picture of a child, usually a stick figure, standing quietly beside a rock or beside a tree or just in the house. I don't remember what picture is on that card. And on the back, it describes what it means to a child to pause when you are upset or angry or sad or happy. If you pause and notice how it is that you feel inside, that in itself is the spiritual practice. And then there are examples of activities that you could do. Go outside and lie down on the grass and pause for 10 seconds and notice what it is that you feel or see. Just different examples like that. So just a shout out to Lauren Sophia and her mindfulness cards that you can find on Etsy.
That's wonderful. I just love giving parents something practical because I know they have a lot of resources for, flashcards with it if it comes to math or vocabulary, but what a great way to help with their emotional and spiritual development, which is the huge part of who we are. I so appreciate that. I learned about highs and lows. I'm a big movie buff from the movie The Story of Us with Bruce Willis and Michelle Pfeiffer, and they did highs and lows with their children. So I really appreciate that idea, and I hope that some of our parents will find that an easy way, a simple way to help guide children in their faith journey. I appreciate you being on Zoom with us. And is there any closing remarks you have for children and parents and teachers?
My heart goes out to everyone. Yeah, it is a really tough time trying to figure out the transitions. And yes, I wish peace, deep peace to everyone.
Peace. Thank you, Brenda.